Hello, BookTube. We're moving on from A Child's Garden verses today, and to Lewis Carroll. I have like a illustrated works, and this is all these kids' works. I think this doesn't have any of his like mathematics stuff he wrote about or anything like that. But I thought we'd skip to the very end and do a later poetry collection. This is Free Sunsets and Other Poems. It was released like 1869, which is very nice. But I thought, everyone talks about Alice Wonderland and all of his, stuff he wrote very much earlier in his career. But I thought we'd go to something a bit later, something a bit different. And yeah, so let's start. The first poem we have today is Free Sunset. So here it is. He saw her once in the glance, a moment's glance of meeting eyes. His heart stood still in sudden trance. He trembled with sweet surprise. All in the all in the waning light she stood, the star of perfect womanhood. The summer eve his heart was light. With lighter step he trod the ground, and life was fairer in his sight. And the music was in every sound. He blessed the world where there could be so beautiful a thing as she. There once again, as evening fell, the stars were peering overhead. Just two lovers met and to bid farewell. The western sun gleamed faint and red, and aloft in drift of purple cloud that wrapped him like a funeral shroud. Long time the memory of the night, the hand that clasped, the lips that kissed, the form that faded from his sight, slow sinking through the tears mist, in dreamy music seemed to roll through the dark chambers of his soul. So after many years he came and wandered from the distant shore, but the street, the house was still the same. But those his thoughts were no more. His burning words, his hopes and fears, unheed all and alien ears. Only the children from their play would pause their mournful tale to hear, shrinking in half alarm away, or step by step would venture near, to touch the timid curious hands, that strange wild man from other lands. He sat beside the busy street, there where his last had seen her face, and thronging memories bittersweet seemed yet to haunt the ancient place. Her footfall ever floated near, her voice was ever in his ear. He sometimes, as the daylight waned, and evening mist began to roll, in the half-squalor he complained of the black shadow on his soul, and blindly feigned the cruel care, the ashes of vain despair. The summer fled, the lonely man still lingered out in the lessening days, still, as the night drew on, would scan each passing face with closer gaze, till sick at heart he turned away and sighed, she would not come today. So by degrees his spirit bent to mock its own despairing cry, in stern self-torture to invent new luxuries of agony, and people all the vacant space with visions of her perfect face. Then for a moment she was nigh, he heard no step, but she was there, as if an angel suddenly were bodied from the viewless air, and all her fine ethereal fame should fade as swiftly as it came. So half in fancy's sunny trance, and half in misery's avoiding aching void, with set and stony I can't read that word, sorry. His better bending he enjoyed, and thrust forever from his mind the happiness he could not find. As soon as this wretch in lonely room to selfish death in mildly hurled, the glamour of that fatal fume shut out the wholesome living world. So that all his manhood's strength and pride one sickly dream had swept aside. Ye brother, and we passed him there, but yesterday in merry mood, and marvelled at the lordly air, and ashamed his beggar's attitude, nor needed that ourselves might be wretches as despair as he, who let that thought of bliss denied make havoc your our lives and powers. and pine in solitary pride, for peace that never shall be ours, because we will not work and wait, in trustful patience for our fate. And so it chanced once more that she came by the old familiar spot, the face he would have died to see, bent over him, and he knew it not, too wrapped in selfish grief to hear, even when happiness was near. Oh, sorry, to turn the page. Even when happiness was near, and pity filled her gentle breast for him that would not stir nor speak. The dying crimson of west, the faintly tinged of his haggard cheek, fell on her as she stood, and shed a glory round and patient head. Ah, let him wait, the moments fly. This awful tirist may be the last, may be least, sorry, yeah. And see the tear and dimmed her eye had fallen on him ere she passed. She passed, the crimson paled to grey, and hope departed with the day. The heavy hours of night went by, and silence quickened into sound, and light slid up the eastern sky, and life began its daily round. But light and life for him were fled. His name was numbered with the dead. Ooh, bit of an ending there. And yeah, well, I love Carroll's writing. It's a bit shame of him as a person, but anyway, his writing is just so lovely. And so we're going to keep going with this poetry collection. It's very nice. And yeah, thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.